We always just used one camera, and to be honest, it did the job nicely for a long period of time. But when we struggled to record a clean take, usually on those days when there's a lot in the mind, it took forever to get to that one perfect take. But then we came across this pretty valuable tip to introduce a second camera and not to stress about the perfect take, but rather make it perfect in the edit. Now, of course, this was a game changer for us in the early days. And by introducing a second camera, it allowed for shooting the content as a wide and tight shot. And this way, if we stumbled on our words, we were able to reset and continue from where we tripped. Much what I'm doing with this video right now. Then during the editing, obviously we'd cut from the tight shot to the wider shot, removing the stumbles. A huge time saver, and what we found was that the talent, i.e. me in this case, was incredibly more relaxed, and therefore the end product was always infinitely better. So in addition to the last point, when shooting something that you want to be really engaging, there is a recommendation to have a couple cameras. Again, it depends on your style. But if you do have a couple cameras, this way you can actually use the multi-angles and close-ups to emphasize important messages. One camera can be focused on a close shot, the second can be set as a wider shot, or you can have one down the middle and one off to the side like we're doing today. But essentially this allows the option to create interest that will help keep the viewer's attention. Now, during the editing process, you can cut between the two camera angles, almost allowing the viewer to feel like they were in the room. This is particularly effective when shooting an interview-style video. For example, one camera can be focused on a wider shot of the interviewer and guest, and the second camera can obviously be the close-up of either the guest or the interviewer as they speak. Now, if there's multiple guests and they're talking, then obviously you'll consider a third camera. Now, alternatively, suppose you don't have a budget that extends to having two cameras, or in our case, two smartphones. It's actually relatively easy to create the illusion of multiple cameras with just the one by using the close-up feature during the editing process. Now, this is why a really good smartphone with a high megapixel camera is very handy for that process. Now, the positioning of the camera should be pretty intuitive. The primary camera should be naturally in front. However, don't be afraid to have a little bit of a play with the different angles and positioning of that second camera.